Predicted lineup up next, and Ange has been speaking in his press conference. So what have we got in terms of team news?
So bad news on Odegaard. He is injured, and obviously Ange said he remains. He's going to be out for the next part, which I assume is at least till the international break. He said it's fairly significant, so that's a real big blow for him after a promising start to life at Tottenham. So he's unavailable. Richarlison, he said, don't even bother asking me about Richarlison. I'll give you an update when we have one. And he's also probably going to be missing until at least the international break with his injury, which is really not good to hear. So he remains out. Timo Werner has recovered from his knock on Wednesday, which forced him off. So he's going to be available, and so is Yves Bissouma. So that's positive. And Ali Gold reported Will Lancashire reported back to training as well, so he could be available for the weekend, which is really positive. So some mixed team news, I think is fair to say.
Yeah, so frustrating though, isn't it? Like, you think you're going into the season, whether you think the quality's there or not, but the depth was definitely there in terms of the personnel, the numbers that we had in the forward line. Now Richarlison's out for a significant time. Like, I'm starting to get so annoyed. Look, you can't get annoyed with him because, you know, he doesn't want to be injured and he wants to be out there on the pitch. But ever since he's come to Tottenham, injuries have just followed him around and plagued his whole Tottenham career. And that is the reality. And Odegaard as well, you know, he's going to be out for a significant amount of time, which leaves us with only Brennan Johnson on the right-hand side. Maybe Kulusevski can fill in there as well, but he's doing so well in the central areas. You don't want to see him really out on the right-hand side. So we are kind of down to a bit of our bare bones in the forward line, aren't we?
Well, I mean, dread to say it. We still got Werner. We still have Mikey Moore is now going to be be an option and get more time minutes. Obviously, as you say, Decky with Bergvall, you know, performing quite well. Maybe with Decky in the centre, with Bergvall in the centre and Decky out wide, that could be an interesting dynamic to look at. So we have options, but are there options that will be good enough? The jury's definitely out on that. We'll have to wait and see.
Well, let's get into the predicted lineup. 4-3-3 as per usual. In goal will be Big Vic. And yeah, he's got to have his wits about him with these set pieces this weekend.
Be nice to have him back as well after a bit of a disaster from Forster as well. So good to have Vic back in goal. He's actually been speaking a lot. He did a preview with Sky Sports ahead of the weekend saying, you know, the only way to move forward is to double down on our football and just persist with how we're going, because it's going to give us success. So it's good to hear from him. He's come under some criticism, hasn't he, after the Arsenal game because of not coming for corners and stuff, albeit I think by and large this season he's been a bit improved. So let's hope he can show that improvement in this game.
Yeah, I mean, I think all the criticism that he faced in the Arsenal game kind of went out the window after we saw Fraser Forster in the Coventry game, to be honest. But Vicario in goal. Right back will be Pedro Porro. And look, I think he's had a strong season so far.
Yeah, I saw one commenter even indicating he would rather Jed Spence start in this game, but after his cameo. But I think Porro will start, and I think he could be a very important player here because he plays that inverted right back role, and his purpose is, you know, be there for overloads. He could be the extra man in the final third, and he could be the one who could really unlock Brentford's back line with the quality he has, or even a long shot. We could use his quality in that final third, so he could be a really important in this one.
Yeah, not only that though, he's also got the quality to go a bit more route one to Dom Solanke as well, if we can go, if Ange lets them go that way, because we know Ange doesn't like the whole route one, but you know, sometimes different games do call for different strategies at sometimes, and you do have to change it up. And I feel like, you know, you mentioned it in the preview, right? This game could be one of the perfect opportunities to do that, and he's got the quality, as well as Coutinho Romero, who we're going to go at right centre back. Again, he's come under a bit of fire this season in terms of, you know, mishaps for the goals that we've conceded, but he's also got the quality to provide those balls into Dom Solanke.
Yeah, and I just look, let's hope first of all no lapses in concentration, but I think his ball playing ability was definitely missed against Coventry. I think Davis and Dragshin kind of really struggled with that element, in my opinion, and I think Romero being back on the pitch will help with that. Hopefully he can move the ball a bit quicker, but look, no lapses in concentration this one. I want to see no mistakes. And to be fair, you know, before the Arsenal game, you know, the Everton game, he was fantastic, scored a goal, and that was one of his better performances. So hopefully a repeat of that.
And alongside him will obviously be Mickey van der Ven, another player who we desperately missed at Coventry on Wednesday night. And as well, like, he's going to be so vital to us in terms of, you know, keeping up with Mbeumo in those runs in behind.
Yeah, because Mbeumo is going to be on his side. I think they're definitely going to be looking for those runs in behind from him. especially when he pulls out wide as well. And Van de Ven's going to have to make sure he's covering that space because that's where they're most dangerous. Thankfully, no Wissa, so they won't be able to. They won't be finding it as easy to get him behind on the other side. But Van de Ven's definitely going to have to watch it because Udogie's going to probably be spending a lot of time up the pitch, and Van de Ven's going to have to be covering that space. Otherwise, Mbeumo's going to catch us out.
Yeah, so left back obviously will be Destiny Udogie, and I feel Destiny Udogie had a really strong performance in that first half against Coventry, and I would say probably he looked back to the old Udogie that we probably haven't seen so far this season.
To be fair, I think he's been playing really well, like for the first hour of games or so. I think he's been starting games really strongly. And then maybe it's a fitness thing, and Ange indicated he's not 100% fit at the moment. You know, once it gets to 65, 70 minutes, he starts to look a bit leggy and he starts getting caught out. So I think maybe it's just a fitness thing with him right now. I actually think in general he's looked pretty good. So he got 45 minutes in his legs on midweek, and he did look strong again. And it's no surprise he looked strong and then went off and wasn't able to stay on the pitch to look leggy. So hopefully that was really helping him build his fitness.
Yeah, and you know he's going to have his work cut out for him as well. And you know, as you say about Porro finding himself in those spaces where he can create overloads, I think Udogie will be exactly the same on the other side as well.
Yeah, the difference is when Udogie's picked up as a spare man, I don't think he has the quality like in and around the penalty area that Porro does to really make the difference. He's more good at shielding, carrying the ball, getting to the byline and things like that. I'm not saying he doesn't have quality, but I feel like against this team, I reckon a Porro long shot could make a big difference. I don't know if Udogie has that in him.
Not a long shot, but you know, he finds himself in those areas where he can get into goal scoring opportunities, as we saw. You know, he scored last time out against Brentford, didn't he?
Yeah.
So let's go into the number 6 position, and we're going to side with Yves Bissouma. He's back in contention. I think he will start. He's been so vital to us whenever he's played this season, and I think he's just on a lot better form than Bentancur at the moment.
Yeah, I think he needs to come straight back in. I think he was being really effective before his injury. I'm liking the look of him ever since he's come back into the team, and I wouldn't mind another long shot like against Everton. That would be nice in this one. So yeah, hopefully Bissouma can carry on his goal scoring form. I think it's 3 goals in his last 3 games. So let's keep going, Bissouma.
So Bissouma in the 6, in the 8 or the other 10, we're going to go for Dejan Kulusevski, who in my opinion has been our most consistent performer this season. I think he's been brilliant. Came on, completely changed the game against Coventry, and we're going to need his creativity and his physicality in this one.
Yeah, I actually think he might be our most important player in this game, because if we're going to break down this Brentford team, I think he's going to be the key. But just because I think he's probably the best player we have in tight spaces because of his physicality. Players can't get too close to him because he can outmuscle them and shove them away, and he can he kind of finds a way of getting himself into the penalty area and causing a bit of chaos. And I think he will really need to do that in this game to sow a bit of chaos into that organised Brentford backline. Otherwise, if we allow them to settle too much, we're going to be too easy to stop. So I actually think if I'm pointing at a player who's for me the most important, I think it's going to be Decky in this game.
And then alongside him in the number 10 will be James Maddison. Again, another player that came on to help swing the momentum in our favour against Coventry. And look, I feel Maddison, he has come under a bit of flack this season, but I think by and large he has had a good start to the season.
Yeah, I think he's looking good, and I think a bit of magic in this one could really go a long way to beating this Brentford side. I'm really liking the dynamic of him and Kulusevski together. I'm liking how they're working together, and I think what you got to remember, you know, as much as we've seen them together now for a couple of games, it's only been a couple of games, and the more they played together in that centre, the more they're going to develop a relationship. And I'm really enjoying that at the moment. So hopefully Madders, you know, he's been playing a bit deeper recent weeks. Hopefully he can get a bit closer to the final third and make the difference.
On the right-hand side of the attack, we're going to side with Brennan Johnson. I say we're going to side with lack of options, really. But Brennan, when he has started this season, has been fairly poor. In the both games that he's come on in games, he has made an impact. So, look, what I want to see from Brennan Johnson is I want to see him show a bit of confidence from scoring that goal in the last minute to send us through into the next round of the Cup. And I want to see him be a bit relentless and ruthless on that right-hand side. Just keep taking on your man. Don't check back and pass in field. Obviously, if you feel the need to do that, do that. But I want to see him be relentless and ruthless and just keep going at his left back.
Yeah, I hope so. The problem is he's coming up against a wing back, and if he gets past a wing back, he's then got a centre back to deal with. So he's gonna find it even harder to get space in this game than he would have in other games. Like against Arsenal, he pretty much was 1-on-1 with Timber, and he couldn't get the beating of him. Now he's going to have probably more players to deal with. So it's going to be a difficult game for him. Obviously, I remember the last time he scored a goal, that back post run after Werner's cross. So I want to see more of that. That's a really big way he can make a contribution when Son's on that side. Just make sure he's at the back post and he can be found. He's quicker than the defenders, and that's the way he can contribute. And hopefully he's high in confidence after that last minute winner against Coventry in midweek. So if I'm predicting, I do still imagine a bit of a difficult game for him, but hopefully he can make a contribution in other ways.
And then on the left-hand side will be the captain, Son Heung-min, another player who came on in the latter state. Well, I think he came on about half an hour to go in the Coventry game. And again, another player who's going to have his work cut out for him in this one.
Yeah, similar story to Johnson. If he's not cutting inside and trying to find space there, if he's going to the byline, it's going to be hard for him. Hopefully, he can link up with Decky and Maddison there. The last time we saw, Decky and Maddison midfield and Son in the front line, it was, we did okay. So hopefully he can make the difference on the left-hand side. But I just hope he finds himself in more shooting positions, because at the moment he's stuck out on the touchline and not really contributing. So let's hope he can find his way into this game.
Then up top will be big Dom Solanke, and I just hope he gets off the mark and scores this weekend.
Yeah, I would say Decky's the most important player. I think Solanke's probably a close second. I think his hold-up play is going to be really vital, because if we can pass it into the penalty area, and he can hold the ball and bring Maddison and Kulusevski into play, that can be massive when it comes to trying to win this game and create chances centrally. It's going to be very important. I think he's going to have his work cut out up against potentially 3 centre-backs for Brentford, all very strong physical centre-backs. So I think they're going to try and surround him and bully him, and he's going to have to be up to the task. So he's got a difficult game ahead of him, and let's hope he's up to it.
Well, let's run through that predicted lineup one more time. This is your predicted lineup to go and beat Brentford tomorrow, 3 o'clock kickoff at the Tottenham Hotspur Stadium. It's Vicario in goal, Pedro Porro right back, Destiny Udogie left back, a back two of Romero and Mickey van der Ven, Bissouma, Kulusevski and Maddison in the middle three, with Johnson and Sonny supporting big Dom Solanke up top. Our score predictions for this game, we've both gone for 2-1 to Spurs, so let's hope we can have a good end to Saturday and celebrate 3 points, because we've only done it once so far this season, and we just need 3 points on the board. We just need it desperately. So let's go into it with a bit of confidence. Sing up for the boys if you are going to the game. If you're not going to the game, get on the watch along, as Barnaby will be hosting, and he'll be providing a post-match fan show as well for you to have your say on the game. But that is our predicted